Good evening, bipeds. Stephen Sashen, co-founder and chief barefoot officer here at Xero Shoes. And this is our monthly Ask Me Anything, which we do on the third Tuesday of every month, unless something weird happens where we can't do it on that day. But, 9 times out of 10, maybe 10 times out of 11, this is when we do it. And this is an opportunity for you to ask me anything. If you're watching this live, you can put in comments and questions below or wherever it's obvious to put them, and I will see them over there on my screen and respond accordingly. If you're not watching this live, that's cool. You can still put comments and questions in below, and somebody from our customer happiness team will answer as soon as possible. So we're here to answer any questions you have about barefoot shoes, or what some people think of as minimalist shoes, the difference between barefoot and minimalist. We can talk about that as well. What it takes to enjoy having happy, healthy, strong feet in a pair of minimalist shoes, and why they can help you have happy, healthy, strong feet. What else? Basically anything you think of. I've got some new product info to share with you, some very exciting things, something coming out tomorrow, some things coming out very soon, actually some things that are already out, and kind of everything in between. But this is really for you. I enjoy doing this, and if you enjoy being here, well, then that makes it work. So for those of you who are new, let me just do the first part and get this out of the way and explain why we do what we do. Xero Shoes has been around for just under 16 years, coming up on our 16th year. Holy smokes, in a month, it'll be 16 years since my wife, Lena, and I started this company on a whim, because I had gotten into and discovered the value of letting your feet do what's natural, and wanted to, well, we uttered the 5 dangerous entrepreneurial words. How hard could this be? And almost 16 years later, we know this has been really, really challenging, but also really, really exciting, because from day one, we would hear people saying, wow, what you're doing has changed my life. And as my wife likes to say, there's enough shoe companies in the world. We don't need any more shoe companies, unless your shoes actually do change people's lives. So what makes Xero Shoes life-changing? Let me start with a couple of weird little questions, just for the fun of it. I'm going to answer for you. You don't have to, but I guess you're probably going to answer the way that I'm going to be saying you're answering. You'll see why. So these are dumb questions. They're not trick questions. They're seriously dumb. You'll figure it out after maybe the first one or two. Number one, which is better for your body, weaker or stronger? I'm betting you're going to say stronger. So let's talk about that thing you don't want, which is weaker. If I'm going to make this thing weaker, what do? Most people say, don't use it. Right, because use it or lose it. If you don't use it, you lose it. So you're supporting, that's an important word, supporting this one joint, your elbow joint, and then the muscles, ligaments, and tendons around it get weaker because that joint isn't bending, flexing, and moving like it normally would. Well, guess what? You have 26 bones and joints in your, well, actually, you have a quarter of the bones and joints of your entire body in your feet and ankles, and about 110 muscles, ligaments, and tendons. If you have a shoe, like this one, for example, that's super stiff except for right there, which isn't even where your foot bends, then those bones and joints can't move. And what do you think happens to your foot? Right, weaker. What problems might that cause at the end of a day, a week, a month, a year, as your feet get weaker? Those things that support you. If you have a weak support, like a weak foundation in your house, that's a problem. I'm not going to do all of them. There's like 5 of these. I'll give you 1 or 2 more. Which is better, being aware of things or being numb to things that you should be aware of? Again, obviously not a trick question. So the reason that I bring up that one, you have more nerve endings in the soles of your feet than anywhere but your fingertips and your lips. Why? Some people figure this one out. They go, so you can feel things. And I go, why do you need to feel things in your feet? Basically, so your brain knows what you're stepping on or in, so it can help you move those muscles, ligaments, and joints and bones and whatnot, to help you adapt to whatever terrain you're moving over or on. And if you can't feel, that's a problem. So in fact, there's a really interesting thing that happens. People think they often need a bunch of cushioning, but when your brain can't feel things, it often makes you land harder. So to try to give it some feedback, there's research showing that no matter what kind of cushioning you have, it doesn't reduce the impact forces that go up into your joints and your knee, your hip, and your back when you can't feel things. That's a problem. Let me do another. I want to do some simple ones. Here's a really easy one, which is better. Proper alignment or imbalance. I'm hoping you're going to go for proper alignment. Well, if you have a shoe with an elevated heel, that tips you forward just a little bit, but that little bit is just enough to make you have to lean back a little bit, and that puts strain on your joints, on your ankle, your knee, your hip, and your back, and at the end of the day, that can cause problems as well. Oh, actually, here's the easiest one. Which is better, restriction or freedom? I'm going to go for freedom. When you have a shoe with a pointy toe box like this, what's it doing to your toes? This is not supposed to be the shape of your foot. If it is, again, not supposed to be that way. It's from shoving it into things that are like this, foot binding, but a modern kind of foot binding. So instead, well, here, let me just show you a Xero shoe so I can go over all these things that I just mentioned. This is our Speed Force. This is a shoe that I helped design. This is the closest thing to barefoot we make. You can see we have other things that are a little less barefoot, quote unquote. We'll talk about that too. Wider foot-shaped toe box, so your toes can spread and relax and do what's natural. Low to the ground and flat. So low to the ground for balance, agility, and mobility. Flat, so we're not elevating your heel and messing with your posture. We also don't have a thing called toe spring, which means you can't get that down. So that puts strain on your tendons. Super, super flexible, so your bones and joints can do anything they want. Obviously not that. If your foot is doing that, if you're not already seeing a doctor in an emergency room, get there fast. But you get the point. This doesn't restrict your foot from moving the way it's supposed to. If you want, well, actually, just the right amount of protection with our Feel True sole. It's giving you traction and protection, but also that ground feel that you need so your brain knows how to move you effectively, efficiently, etc. And if you want, ooh, someone took it out. All of our shoes, let me grab one of our shoes. Wait, I gotta grab one that has this. And I'm gonna hide this shoe, have a removable insole or sock liner. You can keep it in if you feel like you need a little extra protection. You can take it out if you want more barefoot feeling. And let's see what else. Oh, crazy lightweight, so lightweight. We've literally had people say they went to bed still wearing their Xero shoes because they forgot they had them on. That's a fun one. There's something else. So, we do something really radical. When Lane and I started the company, we thought, what's something that's really annoying? And that is shoes that wear out really fast, especially something where it's just a tiny bit of rubber and then foam that wears out super, super quickly. So we developed what we refer to as Feel True rubber, and we use that for all of our soles, and we back our soles with a 5,000-mile sole warranty. So what else can I say? Oh, last but not least, it's pretty simple. I mentioned the lightweight, but you can see behind us some of the collection. We have now, I think, 70 different styles of casual and performance shoes, boots, and sandals for all ages, well, down to, like toddler size and up to about 105-year-old, that people use for everything from taking a walk to literally playing NBA and WNBA basketball. And I got a quick announcement about that in just a sec. So anything you need, we have something for you. And that's the short version of why we're here and what we're doing. In short, we're actually letting your feet do their job so the rest of your body can do its job. So let me update a couple things over here really quick. Gavi says, hi, Steve. And I said, hi, Gavi. Jason says, took your advice about increasing my cadence when running, and it's made a huge difference. Loving the barefoot shoe life. So cadence is the number of steps you have per minute. And most people are running a little too slowly, too few steps per minute. Organization is not my strong suit. I used to have a study that showed that as you pick up your cadence, the amount of force that's going through your body is reduced until it hits a certain point where then you start sprinting and you're putting more force in your body, mostly because you're just hitting the ground and on and off the ground faster. So force has to do with time as well as just, your mass. Force is mass times acceleration. So, but the ground contact time is part of that as well. So if you want to experiment with something that's really cool, just pick up your cadence a tiny little bit. If you need a metronome to help, that's really good to do. It'll feel awkward because your brain is used to a certain pattern. And when you break out of a pattern even a little bit, your brain's like, whoa, what the hell are you doing? And it'll feel a little awkward, but it also might feel a little better. And after a little while, better becomes the new normal. Endless Waltz, any update on your revolutionary shoe that you said can break records? No. I've got a conversation going with the guy who developed the magic technology, well, half of the magic technology for that, but we're still working on that project. So, all right, before we jump, now keep going with questions and whatnot, and I'll answer them as they come up, but I do want to talk about some products that are available and some that are coming out, and some other quick announcements. So first things first, if you haven't been to xeroshoes.com in a little while, go check it out. We have updated the website. It's on a whole new platform. We're still making a whole bunch of changes to it, but you're going to love what you see, I think. If not, if you run into a problem, let us know, because we are making a bunch of fixes and changes and testing things to make it better and better every day. But people are responding really well to it, which makes us really, really happy. Now, here's an announcement about something coming out tomorrow, and this is a real fun one. Now, I mentioned NBA and WNBA. That's because 8 years ago, Temi Fig-Benley, who is the center for the Golden State Valkyries, called me and said, I've been wearing your shoes and sandals off the court, and my feet and ankles have become indestructible. You should make a basketball shoe. Well, coincidentally, our chief product officer at that time, Dennis Driscoll, had worked at Converse, so he understood how to make a basketball shoe. It also just happened that I had been at an event with a strength and conditioning coach from a Division I college basketball team who was taking a look at one of our hiking boots and said, "This is practically like a basketball shoe." So we put those together and kind of made a prototype basketball shoe. This is like 2018, and sent it to Temi. And she said, "So it doesn't quite fit me, so I can't play in it. But I can also tell you I couldn't sprain my ankle in these things if you paid me." So I spent the next 6.5 years trying to get a basketball shoe made. And then suddenly we got a bunch of calls from players and coaches and strength and conditioning coaches and trainers saying, "You need to make a shoe." So we fast tracked it. And in the playoffs, 2 playoffs ago, Justin Holiday wore a prototype in the playoffs when he was with the Denver Nuggets and said he never played better and felt better. And then all last season, Temi wore her shoe when she was with the Valkyries. She started out wearing it when she was playing with the Indiana Fever. And even more fun, Isaiah Stewart from the Pistons was wearing our shoe all last season, sent us a note at the end of the season saying, "I played 72 games this season. I've never done that in my professional career." So the fun part is we worked with Isaiah to come up with a special colorway just for him, but we have a limited number of them that we are selling to the public. And this is the X1. This is I don't know if we have a special name for Isaiah's colorway, but you can see it really represents the way he likes to think of himself as a warrior playing an aggressive game. And if you look on the bottom, it's kind of hard to see that last word. You can't see it. It says "never bow down." And just a reminder for him about the way he plays. We are really looking forward to seeing this on the court and actually watching a lot of other people play. We have, I think, like 5 teams where all the trainers or the trainers for those teams have all the players training in our shoes, hoping to get their feet strong enough so that they can start playing in our shoe and experience the benefits that we know they'll experience. So a couple questions that I'm going to go on to the shoes that are already out that you're going to like. Jason, website update is great. Recently ordered a pair of Z-Treks and Scramblers, and the transaction was smooth and easy. Nice to hear. Mitzi Lund 1, can I go over how to walk in Xero shoes? I know not to overstride, possibly push off with my heels, but I'm not sure I'm doing it correctly. So there's a video. Let me make sure it's actually up. I'm going to point you to if it is. Hold that thought. I'm going to the new website to find it, and give me one moment. Yeah, here's the link, and I'm going to put this in here. If you go to this link, I'm going to reply to you. Wait, let me see how I can do this. If I can figure out how to reply to you, there we go. Then go here and look at the video at the bottom of, well, near the bottom, towards the bottom, towards the bottom of the page. All right, so check that out and see what you think. Hopefully that'll help. Who designed the new Prio Neos? That was the black and yellow ones are a work of art and deserve its own exhibit in the Louvre. Someone's going to come and rip it off then. So we're a little worried about that. But that was a joint effort. We have a great product development team, and there were a number of people. Actually, we did that a couple of years ago. So I don't know. I mean, Josh Pichon was one. I don't remember if Dennis was here or if Michael's here. I can't keep track of when we do things because we start designing stuff a year, sometimes 2 years in the, well, we design for the future. So talking about now in the past. And I can't keep those things in my head, but thank you. I love that shoe as well. Here's an example of one colorway, one of the women's versions of the Prio Neo. So same sole as our Prio, our original go everywhere, do everything shoe with just an upgraded sleek upper. Okay, let's see what else came in. Dude, those are sweet. Got to get them. That is Peacekeeper referring to these. Yeah, these are great. We've got another color that we designed for Temi that's really sweet. We have a few others on the way. They're amazing. Chris, please consider placing greater emphasis on educating people about the issues associated with modern shoes compared to barefoot. I've made a whole bunch of videos. I'm planning on doing a whole lot more. And we try and do things on every social platform that we can. Long story, we haven't been able to publish some things for a while, but believe me, it's something that is near and dear to my heart and something I want to do a lot of. Happily, there are other people doing it too, but I was literally thinking about this morning about just taking my phone, going out and like doing, a selfie thing as I'm walking the dog or going or on the track, doing a track workout or something, just with little snippets and just building it out, because it's really, it couldn't be more common sense. Stronger is better than weaker. Feeling things is better than being numb. Proper posture is better than being misaligned. What are the other ones? There's 5 of them. My brain isn't working right now. And the whole point of what I'm doing is trying to get people to realize that what you've been sold is a bill of goods. Dr. Irene Davis, when she was at Harvard, used to say, she was one of the top researchers on barefoot shoes. And she would say, this actually happened at a conference of the American College of Sports Medicine. I was on a panel debate against a guy from Brooks and a guy from Adidas, or Adidas, if you actually want to be obnoxious and pronounce it correctly, because it was Adi Dassler. That's the guy's name. Anyway, she said, look, in the 60s and 70s, we were running and playing court sports in thin, flat shoes. And we weren't getting the number of injuries, the type of injuries, or the severity of injuries we've been getting ever since you came out with new products. What problem were you trying to solve, and why clearly didn't it work? And this is what blows me away. Some people will say, oh, I heard if you wear barefoot shoes, you get injured. 50% of runners and 80% of marathoners get injured every year. If we are doing any better than that, we're the thing that you should be looking at. And trust me, we're doing better than that. There's research from a company that I shouldn't name. It rhymes with Mikey. And they have a page, it's their Run Fearless page, where they talk about a study that they did back in, I first saw it published in 2020, where they compared their best-selling running shoe, the Zoom Structure 22 at the time, to a new shoe they developed, the React Infinity Run. It was a 12-week half-marathon training program. And the way it was reported in the news was that the new shoe reduced injuries by 52% over the course of that 12 weeks. An injury was something that took you out for at least 3 training sessions in a row, so at least a week. Well, if you look at the numbers, and they publish them on their website, the Zoom Structure 22 injured 30.3% of the runners in 12 weeks. And running injury rates don't stay flat. They go up over time. They eventually plateau, but they go up over time. The new shoe only injured 14.5%. Now, this raises a bunch of questions. One is that the best you can do after 50 years? 2 is, what made this one better? You don't see this in the website, but I have a copy of the study. They removed many protective features. They made it a little more minimalist, but not enough, in my opinion. Other questions, well, if this one injured that many people, why are you still selling it? It's a good one. How many styles are you making using this new technology? Up until maybe about 6 months to a year ago, it was only 1. Now it's only 2. So you can keep going from there. But the biggest one is, you just proved what we've known anecdotally, that modern running shoes cause injuries. You change the design, you change the injury profile. This should make people, like, their head should explode. So anyway, thanks for letting me go on a rant, Chris. Yeah, I definitely want to be doing more of that and look forward to it. Peter Cunningham says, hey, I'm saying hey back. Chris says, you're competing with marketing that prioritizes sales over research. It prioritizes telling a story that's an easy story that, frankly, if you don't understand physics, is convincing. Or if you apply certain kinds of what seems like common wisdom, makes sense unless you know more, well, actually more about physics. So, like, I'll give you an example from Adidas. When they came out with their Boost foam, and this video disappeared from YouTube recently, by the way. When they came out with their Boost foam, they did a demonstration where they took a 2-pound steel ball, maybe it was 2 pounds, I don't know, couldn't tell. They drop it on cement, and it just kind of goes boom, boom. They drop it on the other company's foam. No company used that foam, and it bounces a little bit. They bounce it off the Boost foam, and it bounces to about 25-30% of the height they dropped it from, and then it bounces like 10 more times. And it's like, don't you want to be like that? Well, first things first, you're not a 2-pound steel ball. You're not that elastic. And elastic just means how quickly you return to your original shape. You're more like a spring that's a little kind of, not a great spring. And you want to be a good spring. You want to be as taut as you can, but you're definitely a spring, not a 2-pound steel ball. But I don't know how I knew about this. I think I might have seen it when I was at the Exploratory Museum in San Francisco. They have an exhibit there, or at least they did when I was there. They have a plexiglass plate with a hole in it. And you can drop a little steel ball through that hole, and it drops onto a piece of steel down there with concrete underneath it to make it, really massive. So when you drop the boost foam thing, that big 2-pound steel ball, it bounces like 25, 30% of the height that it was dropped from, 10 times or so. When you drop the steel ball on a steel plate with concrete underneath it, the first bounce, many people think, oh, maybe it goes, like 10%. No, 99.5%. It hits the plexiglass plate, and then it bounces 260 more times. So you look at the cushioning thing and you go, oh, yeah, more cushioning. Bouncy is better. But it ain't more bouncy than what your body can do. And even more, again, you're not a 2-pound steel ball. And even more, if you understand physics, and especially if you're a former All-American gymnast, you understand that what makes you bouncy is your legs. And anything that's like foam or that's trying to mitigate the bounce or give you more bounce is tuned to a weight and speed. So like the new super shoes, if you are not like a 105-pound Kenyan, well, you don't have to be Kenyan, 105-pound guy who can run at 800 in about a minute 50, you're not the right weight and speed for that shoe. And the research, back to Chris's point, shows that if you're not the right weight and speed, injuries can occur at significant rates. In fact, there's a research physical therapist who says those shoes could make you faster if you're the right weight and speed, but your risk of injury is about 100%. So, the reason that they might be making you faster is because of the height. So it's like running in stilts, but good stilts, because speed is your stride length times cadence. We talked about cadence before. And if your stride length gets longer because the shoe is higher and your cadence stays the same, well, again, you can do the physics math for that. Anyway, it blows my mind as a guy who started teaching physics when he was 14 to people who were much older when I see companies misuse physics to just sell people stories that aren't true. All right, I'm done ranting. Maybe. Peter, did I know they have barefoot soccer football cleats now? Yes, I've seen them all. And that's all I'm going to say at this moment. Todd Van Loom, totally agree. It made me cringe when I heard Damian Lillard say that all these basketball players getting injured is due to the increased pace of the game. It's definitely not true. The players that we've been talking to are wearing our shoe. They're playing the same game and they're not having the same effect. And look, there's another thing. If you have a flared sole on a shoe, especially a basketball shoe, this one's a little flared, and you catch an edge, you're going to do this and sprain your ankle. I mean, it's just the way it happens. That's what happened when Zion Williamson, when he broke through his Nike shoe, the fact that he ripped through it was no big deal. What happened was he fell over the edge and was trying to catch himself. When you weigh 250 pounds and you're pushing through the front of a shoe, nothing's going to stop you. But the whole point is he caught an edge. And ankle sprains are the #1 injury in basketball. The NBA is spending a bunch of money. I think it's $5 million researching how to treat them. We've had trainers from like 7 teams reach out to them saying, talk to the guys at Xero Shoes about preventing them. I'm not making any medical claims, but I'm saying that's what the trainers were doing, and we haven't been able to get in because they're researching treatment, and they're not thinking about not having to do that treatment. Anyway, Chris, I often ask individuals to place their open hand on a table, then close their fingers. Yes, illustrating how modern shoes affect foot movement. In fact, when you put your hand flat on something and try to squeeze and it doesn't work, you're putting the ligaments and tendons in your hand under strain. Same thing happens in a shoe when the shoe is having you land on your heel and then coming down flat-footed. Your toes are supposed to be doing a bunch of things and they can't do it, which can cause things like plantar fasciitis. That's why shoe companies built in arch support so that you didn't have to use those bones and joints and ligaments and tendons, which again, use it or lose it. We could go on all day with this. Maybe we will. I don't know. Mitzi, thank you. Looked at it once, got my first pair, but I'll look at it again, see if I missed something. It's, the idea, it's kind of funny. It's like being a speed skater in reverse. Like speed skaters, they are pushing, they're gliding on one foot as they push one foot backward. You're kind of doing the opposite. You're pushing one foot backward and the other foot's in the air. But play with it. You'll see. And if you have any questions, just give me a shout. Okay, Peter, do you think any regular non-barefoot minimalist style shoes will eventually be the complete norm? I think that, so when people ask me what our goals are here, I like to say we're just here to change the world. Now, that doesn't mean I'm trying to become a $100 billion company. It means we're trying to make this whole barefoot friendly idea. I like the phrase barefoot inspired. I'm not crazy about minimalist, and I'll say something about that. But anything that allows your feet to do what they're meant to do, that I'm trying to make that mainstream. Is it going to take over completely? Absolutely not, for many, many reasons. But are we expecting that we're going to start seeing more brands doing this? Yes. Are we expecting to see big brands doing this? Already happening. There's been some things like from New Balance. They had a barefoot friendly shoe way back when called the Minimalist. It got less and less barefoot friendly with various iterations. They kind of are putting more energy into it again, and I haven't played with it to see if it's gotten any better or worse, but they're putting more attention into that shoe. I'm hearing rumblings from other companies as well. So I think we're going to be seen as a real viable alternative, and I'm expecting it's going to get bumpy along the way, because what I have found in my years as an entrepreneur is when you threaten someone else's livelihood and they can't react well enough, their first move is not to just go, congratulations. So could get interesting is all I can say. Do I think regular shoes will go away and barefoot will be the norm, is clarifying. And yeah, I don't know. I think that's what should happen. There's always going to be an opportunity for using a specialized shoe or a shoe for a specialized purpose. Like if you think about technical rock climbing, there's a reason to use those shoes that squeeze your toes together and turn your foot into a lever. Great idea. But what I say to people, if they have to wear a shoe for some other reason, something that we don't make, or something that where barefoot inspired is not appropriate, use that shoe. But as soon as you can, get out of it and wear something like what we make around the house, when running errands, when your daily life, for active recovery, because you're moving things and that can help with circulation, and for building strength. There's research showing just by walking in a minimalist shoe that it builds foot strength as much as doing an exercise program. And there's research showing that having more foot strength reduces running injury risk. So get out of something that is not letting your foot do what's natural and into something that is, and that'll be helpful. It's funny, I just remembered, dear friend of ours, Dr. Emily Splickle. I think I might be getting some of the details a little bit off, but you'll get the gist. She had an ebook, a course called, I think it was called Catwalk Confidential. It was about how to walk in high heels, but it's a fake out. It was really foot exercises to make your feet stronger so you can tolerate walking in heels for the time that you need to, but then get out of them. So there's that. Chris says to Peter, for facts to become standard, they have to be clearly communicated and take precedence over misinformation. Currently, misinformation prevails. That's partly true. I'm going to suggest there's something else that's going on that is the bigger deal, and it's just results. It's just stories. We have the percentage of our orders that come from existing customers is really high, unlike any other footwear brand I've ever heard of. Because once people get into something like this and feel the benefits of letting your feet do what's natural, then they don't want to go back. And that's why we have 70 different styles. People keep saying, I love this shoe, but now I need something for this use case. And so what happens, the experience is really what sells everything. So my goal as a marketing person is to find ways to give as many people as possible the experience of being in a pair of shoes, ours preferably, and then that kind of takes precedent. Like when I'm communicating, like my whole thing about weaker and stronger is just to snap people out of a trance and get them into a state of cognitive dissonance where they realize something like supporting a joint makes it weaker. Weaker is not good. I've been wearing things that make my feet weaker. That's not good. Just getting them to question any one belief that they've learned from the last 50 years of footwear sales is, what kind of gets people interested, and away we go. So we all know everything that I say about barefoot inspired footwear. The only thing people ever say in response to me is that makes sense. Everything we're talking about makes total sense. Everything the big footwear companies are doing sounds good, but if you look more carefully, if you look under the hood, not so good. So, all right, hold on, backing up. Kurt, any talk about making golf shoes? Yep. That's all I'm going to say for now, but stay tuned. Peter, they have wide toe bots, I know what you're saying. I can't think. Minimalist rock climbing shoes now too. Again, useful for certain circumstances, but not for all. And the tricky thing there is, of course, the rubber that people are using is not super durable. There's really grippy, which there's usually an inverse relationship between grip and durability. We have some new products that we're looking at that might close that gap. What do I think the category? What do you think the category that is missing minimalist shoes the most? I don't know what that means. What category is barefoot/minimalist missing the most? You know the answer to this. It's the number one thing people ask me about, and that is like a work boot. So that's like the number one thing people ask for. More dress shoes, I would say, is number two. Sport specific shoes is number three. That can have the biggest impact. And that's all I'm going to say about that. Digi, what were you doing before I started Xero? Relaxing a lot more. My wife and I had been basically retired for about the 9.5 years before Xero Shoes happened. We had done some very clever real estate investing around 99, 2000 that was giving us just enough money to not have to work. I mean, like not a lot. We're frugal people. But we realized if we maintain our frugal lifestyle, we could not work. But in 2006, when my last friend said he was getting into real estate, I called our partner and said, start selling everything. This is like 1999 when everyone thought they were a day trader. And so interestingly, we had about 2 months worth of money left when Xero Shoes kind of happened really accidentally. So dodged a bullet, walked into an amazing situation. Let me see if I missed anything, and then I'm going to come back, and then I'm going to show you products. Hold on. David Whiting, I wear Xero Shoes when I work in the kitchen on tile floors, but if floors are wet or greasy, they're slippery. Have you looked at our Prio, our Prio All Day SR for slip resistant? Let me do a quick search for it, or let me find it really quickly, because this is a shoe we made explicitly for that purpose, and we have people who love it. And right now, I'm not sure if the oh, here it is. Hold on, I'm going to give you a link for it. So the Prio All Day SR, it's even on sale right now. So go, pardon me, David, I'm putting a reply in for you. Go here for our slip resistant Prio. Copy, paste, and there we go. Check that out. Did I read Shoe Dog? Oh, yes, I did. What are my thoughts about that book? They left out all the things that people from that era don't want you to know they were doing. I'm just going to leave it at that. Look, whenever you tell a story in hindsight, you have the ability to edit and tweak and change and forget and give yourself more credit than you necessarily deserve. One of the things that I say all the time when people ask us how we got here, I say it's 90% luck. And the other 10%, that's also luck. Oh, then there's a separate 100% that's 90% working your butt off. And then 10%, hopefully being smart enough or knowing someone smart enough who can put out the fires that started overnight, even though nothing changed since yesterday. So, the amount of unbelievably lucky things that have happened to us, first of all, starting with the fact that Lena became my wife after avoiding me like the plague for years. That's a whole other story. If that hadn't happened, we wouldn't be here, because I'm a product marketing person. She's a finance operations person. And when I started Xero Shoes against her wishes, after a little while of just hearing customers reporting their experience from our do-it-yourself sandal making kit, and then talking to people who'd been in the industry for 35 years who said, what you're doing is really important. She walked into the kitchen one evening and went, I'm all in. And that's how that happened. All right, look, I've been talking about shoes, but I want to show you stuff that's either out or, well, that's out. So winter is coming up, and we have some winter-friendly shoes. Wait, do I want to do this one first? Wait, I'll do this one first. So this is the Denver 2. This is an upgrade to our Denver leather boot. One thing we did is we made it a 3-season boot by removing the fleece is not the right word, fuzzy insulated liner. So we made it a great 3-season boot, updated the design, and it is now available in rawhide. We tried to bring it in before. There were some production issues, but now it is here. So you can grab that. But now let's talk about winter. Let's talk about being cozy first. So cozy indoors, these are both indoors and outdoors. So this is more of an indoor thing. This is our fireside. Like if you think about our sunrise, which is somewhere on the wall behind me, you can't really tell where. I got to reorganize that. Just our thin feel true rubber sole and just a nice, cushy, delightful, fuzzy inside, vegan friendly. You will love just wearing this. People say I just wear it inside. It's an indoor slipper, but then they go out and get the mail or they go run errands and they're wearing it all over the place. What the hell? And if you want a little more like protection from the cold, then we've got the Pagosa Cozy. So this one, you can step on the heel. You can do that with the fireside as well, but not quite as much. But this is made so you can step on it if you want, or you can wear it as a slide. You can cinch that up around you. It's got a nice grip, similar grippy tread, and then a really, really fun insulated sock liner. So just to keep you nice and cozy, hence the name, the Pagosa Cozy. But if you're going outside, then you might want to do something super fun. It's the same product for men and women. We took our Alpine, our best-selling winter, fully waterproof winter snow boot, and we wanted to make it like easy on and off and more. That's a real technical boot, and this one's more like après ski, go have fun, kind of thing. And there's two versions, one for men, one for women, same basic idea. So this is the Pagosa pull on. So literally just slide it on, two places you can adjust to have it fit, a nice grippy tread. And for women, you can take this and roll it down and give it a whole different look. I'm not going to do that because I'm a spaz right now. For men, there's another similar idea, some cool colors, and this nice little elastic thing so that what you can do, I don't have a pair with me to show it, but you can pack them up like this and use the elastic to loop them together, which is really great for traveling. So this is a unbelievably delightful product that is doing really, really well already. So again, we've got the technical version, the Alpine, and then the Alpine pull-on, more casual, more fun, and go out and enjoy. I think that's all the product news. I have one other fun bit of news, and I've been talking about this for a while. I'm going to put a link in the chat about this. I do this every time. So our friend Judy Benjamin, who started doing something when she was 80 years old that I hope is inspiring to you, and that is she started walking across the country. Starting in California, she is in the last stretch now, looking to finish in St. Augustine, Florida, and follow Judy on her walk to bring awareness to Alzheimer's treatment. Here's her Instagram. I just threw that in the chat. Go take a look. If you're anywhere near there or know anyone who's anywhere near her walk, she's doing the walk in Xero Shoes. Go say hi and walk with her. I mean, she is just an absolute dear, and we're thrilled to be part of her incredible journey across America to bring awareness to Alzheimer's treatment, something that runs in my family. So fingers crossed. Okay, Digi, off topic, I'm curious, what kind of water do you recommend? I have no idea. I don't recommend water other than drinking it. All I know is that we have a filter in our fridge. That's great. We have a awesome spring right down the street that we used to be getting water from in the office. We sometimes bring that in too because it's really fun. But I don't have a thing about water. Okay, what else? I'm trying to think if there's any other news that I'm forgetting, other than I got to tell you a story. So Lane and I celebrated our 22nd wedding anniversary last week. We went to New Orleans for a week. We had never been before. If you need a couple of restaurant recommendations, tell me and I will give you those, because I'm going to give you 3. I'll give you 3 if you want them. Anyway, had an amazingly wonderful time. But one of the craziest things ever happened to me. So many of you may know there are a number of minimalist footwear brands, and one of them is our biggest competitor, Vivo Barefoot, out of the UK. Well, they're opening an office in the US, similar to the fact that we have an office in Europe. And it's going to be in Austin, Texas. And they sent over one of their employees from the UK, I think he's from the UK, to Austin, Texas. So just keep that in mind. All right, Lane and I so here's one of the restaurant recommendations. We went for a po' boy. I got a shrimp po' boy from a place called Parkway. It's been there forever under different management over the years, came and went, but now it's thriving. And so we went and got our sandwiches. We sat down at an 8-foot folding table, and then 4 people sit at the other end of the table. And then one of them looks across towards me and goes, Steven? And it was Nick, the guy from Vivo Barefoot, who, again, I mentioned Austin, Texas. I said, what are you doing here? We're here for the day because we couldn't get Social Security numbers fast enough in Texas. So we came to Louisiana to do it. We just rushed over here for lunch, and then we have to head back. There they were on that day at the same place at our table. Way too much fun. Best small word story I ever had. Anyway, Esther Lyon, I'm a software. I don't know, but most of them seem tight around my ankles. So I don't know what you, pardon me, I don't know what you mean. So I can't make a recommendation because I don't know what you're talking about. If you can do me a favor and give me a little more something, probably correct whatever the autocorrect was, then I'll see if I can help. Chris, have we considered designing more barefoot shoes that resemble modern footwear, allowing people to enjoy the appearance of standard shoes while experiencing the full benefits of barefoot design? I mean, I would argue that that's a lot of what we're doing. There are a number of minimalist companies where the toe box looks kind of, I would say, kind of clownish. We're trying to find just the right balance of making something that works for being foot shaped, but also, looks normal. So, and then, this is a silhouette that you find all over the place. We made it barefoot friendly. So if you're talking about a specific style, then I'm curious about that. And if you have any specific styles that you think we should do that we're not, it says it in the little thing down here, go to xeroshoes.com/feedback and let us know what you're thinking. Esther says socks. Oh, so here's the sock story. No, or kind of. I have a box sitting on the other side of my office. This is my office that has probably 100 different pairs of socks from 100 different manufacturers trying to get me to promote their products. None of them fit my feet. They squish my toes. I don't have problems with the ankles, but they're very toe squishy. There's one that I have found that is amazing. It's a Japanese company. They've been doing it for a little while. I'm good friends with the person who represents them and the US distributor. And we are hoping to be able to bring them in at some point in the not too distant future. I don't have a date. There's a whole lot going on, like I mentioned, with our new website, but it's the only sock I've ever worn that works. And I can tell you something, it's funny because when you see it, it looks, it kind of looks like this, and then the toe kind of bubbles out and it looks really weird. But when you put it on, that bubble is gone. That's just the part that fits your toes, and this part stretches to fit your foot. So it's like it's half Dyneema or something like Dyneema and merino. It's super thin. Anyway, it's awesome. So fingers crossed we'll have something for you in the not too distant future. Endless Wall. So I was going to ask, what do I think about Vivo, their direction overall? To be honest, I don't really give it a whole lot of thought. I know they're working on some interesting projects, some of which are very challenging, some of which are very cool. But we are, how do I want to put it? We are friendly competitors. We enjoy each other thoroughly. We have meals with each other. We hang out. We talk on a regular basis. And so I don't really give it a lot of thought. We have too much going on over here for me to try to pay attention. We have a lot of projects on our own that keep my brain busy. Considering I've been lucky in this department, any recommendations for finding a soulmate? Oh my God, dating apps are brutal, looking for other options. Well, if you want to get a lesson from me, get engaged to somebody, go out for brunch with that person you're engaged to, and then meet the person you end up marrying. I have no advice. I hit the wife lottery. I am the luckiest man on the planet, according to my brain. I am going to give you a piece of advice. I think I don't know if this is advice, because you're saying it's, dating apps are brutal. And my God, I remember before Lane and I got together and before I was engaged, well, anyway, there was a period where I was in single mode early on in the dating app game. And after about the 5th date that I had, where the woman said to me, God, you're just like how you present yourself online. I said, that's unusual. And then they started telling me crazy stories. So that's a tricky one. What I can tell you is that in my previous relationships, I worked on the idea that it's very common that relationships take work. Now, Lena and I had things that we had to figure out about the way she thinks and the way I think and how they did or didn't work together. And to be honest, we've been together for like 26 years now. We have discovered some things about the way each other works just recently that have been life-changing. But what I can say is that it didn't feel like we were trying to overcome anything that was a problem. We were just trying to figure out how to make things work. And so if it feels like you're working too hard, my opinion, I could be completely full of it, then maybe you're working too hard. I did ask, when I was in my early 20s, I was dating a woman who I just loved, but it just didn't feel right. And her response to me was, yeah, that's just your neurosis talking. And it was kind of hard for me to argue. And so I'm going to get to the questions in a second, but I'm having fun. So I started seeing a therapist, and he had been married twice. And this is someone who I'm still friendly with. We stopped seeing each other professionally 40 something years ago. And I said to him, how did you know that we're going to, get married to that woman? And he kind of snapped out of his therapist mode and just looked at me with the most loving expression anyone has ever looked at me with. And he just said, you'll know. Now, I spent a lot of the next however many years trying to take the feeling that I was having about someone as if it was a square peg and jam it into a round hole. And then I met someone where I knew. And in fact, this therapist, he was doing a book tour and we got together for dinner. And I said, I met this person and now I know what you meant. I knew. And he said, oh my God, that's great. I said, and then she dumped me. And he was really upset. I said, no, it's fine. I understand her reason. It was good for her. It's a long story, but now I know the difference between trying to make it and trying and just discovering that's what it was. When I met Lena, and even during the time that she was avoiding me like I was shit on a stick, I always felt like that was the person that I was supposed to be with, but she didn't want to be with me until that changed. And her story, you'd have to wait, I'll give you the story that she likes to say. This is the shortest version I can think of. One day she was going over every reason she could think of to not be with me. And then she got to the end of her list and realized, she said, oh, everything I've wanted in a relationship, I could have that with him. And then she looked over and she went, oh, he's kind of cute. So I have no advice, just a couple of stories that might be useful. And if they're really useful, then you probably misunderstood me. So let me go back to questions about things that are relevant for this. Gary says, yeah, work boots, it's a biggie. Socks with individual toes. Some people like them, some people don't, because sometimes it's like too spready. Sometimes it's not spready enough. Sometimes I don't wear socks because I'm lazy. Like if I had to take the extra time to put on socks before I put on my shoes, it just ain't going to happen. So this is going to sound funny, but sprinters in general, I'm a Masters All-American sprinter, we tend to be kind of lazy, except when it comes to what we're doing on the track. So we sell some and we've sold some and some people love them, but there's also a reason to just have something that's a normal sock. How do I feel about the nickname Minimalist Messiah? I can think of worse. People can call me whatever they want. I'm uninsultable, and I'm also hard to compliment. works in both directions. I'm uninsultable because there's nothing that someone could say negative about me that I haven't thought myself, or that is metaphorically true, or just patently false. And why would I argue? Like if someone says something about me that I also think about me, we agree. So why would I get all in a tiff about it? Except that maybe it's something that I don't like, and I was kind of hoping that I was hiding it and you discovered it, but that's not your problem. That's my problem. And my thing is then to get over whatever I need to get over so that I can just acknowledge, yeah, that's true. And if you have any suggestions, I'm all ears because I'm not trying to be whatever it is you just said. So pardon me. So I will take whatever nickname you enjoy. Is there a dating site for people that wear barefoot shoes? Peter asks. Oh my God. No, but I'll tell you one of my favorite things that ever happened. If you've ever looked in Craigslist, there's a missed connection section. It's sort of like, I saw you at this thing, but you gave me your number, but I lost it. I hope you see this and, you can reach out to me. There was one that was, I saw you on the bus, or maybe it was a subway, I don't remember, wearing your Xero shoes, and I wanted to say something to you, but I wasn't wearing mine, so I felt embarrassed, and then you got off the bus before I could say anything. I hope you see this. I am waiting with bated whatever for someone to say that they met someone because they were both wearing Xero shoes and eventually got married. That's like my fantasy thing, and we will be there for the wedding. We've been invited to a bunch of weddings where everybody in the wedding party was wearing Xero shoes. That's been a total blast. But I'm waiting for that first, like we're the thing that made it happen. So I don't know there's enough barefooty people to justify the dating site yet, but I love that. Endless Wall says, thank you, my pleasure. Gary says, nothing about the work boots. No, actually, I am setting up meetings. So Lane and I were on vacation last week, and I've got meetings with the product team to ask about a couple things that are in the works to find out what's going on. I don't know what's caught in my throat. Wait, hey, here's an idea, water. And this is just, filtered water from the fridge. Let's see if that works. Andre, sup, need a shoe for just when I need a shoe in buildings and such. I'm usually barefoot. Thoughts about the Prio Neo versus the Speed Force 2. So the Speed Force is our closest thing to barefoot shoe. It's our lightest shoe. It's something I helped design. It's what I wear as a sprinter when I'm training and racing. If I'm wearing a shoe, this is what I'm in 99 times out of 100. And if I have to be somewhere dressy, I wear just the all black version because that's the guy I am. The Prio Neo, geez, man, that didn't work. The water thing. The Prio Neo is just a wonderful shoe. It's a little more kind of go everywhere. Well, I was going to say it's a little more go everywhere, do anything, but that's not even accurate. We have, if you know the Bosu ball, that like half ball that like every physical therapy office and every gym has, the guy who developed that, David Weck, everyone in his gym, they wear this and they do everything in it. They're power lifters, they're runners, they work out, they wear it casually. I mean, like everything. Same thing I do. So if you want that real barefoot feeling, that's the thing. If you're looking for something with a little more protection, a little more rugged, let's say, because the sole on the Speed Force is like 4.5 mil of our field true rubber, and I think the Prio Neo is like 5.5. So it's going to be a little more rugged that way. A little more structured, lighter, a little heavier, but still one of our best sellers, the Prio and the Prio Neo. So then what I would say, given those minor differences, is it's just going to be which one you think looks better for you, or you just buy them both. I'm just saying. Peter says, if that happens to me, AKA meeting someone because of Xero Shoes and getting married, I'll be invited to a wedding. Hey, if you're in Colorado, I'll do the service, because in Colorado, you don't have to be an ordained anything to perform a service. I was in a marimba band when Lane and I got married, and the leader of, one of the two marimba teachers, I knew she'd be a perfect officiant, and she was. So, and then the band played at the reception, and I jumped in for a song or two. It was great fun. Okay, we've been here for a long time, which is fine, because obviously I love doing this, but I do want to wrap it up. So if you have any last minute questions or things, toss them into the chat and I will do them really quick. Otherwise, we're going to go. Just a reminder about stuff that's coming, that's already out for winter, our casual stuff, the Fireside, nice fuzzy slipper, the Pagosa Cozy with insulation. I'd say more about it, but I don't know what it is. It's step on or slide in. If you're going to be a little, outside more, than the Alpine pull-on for men and women, which is just a great casual winter-friendly shoe. Or if you're going to be doing something more aggressive, then just our Alpine, our best-selling fully waterproof boot, which when it's been 10 below zero here and I'm walking the dog for an hour and a half, that's what I've been wearing, bare feet. Totally fine. And then launching tomorrow, our X1 basketball shoe, but Isaiah Stortz, the color that we made with him, we spent a lot of time hanging out with him, talking about how he thinks about himself and about playing and about the shoe, and came up with this colorway for him. This is coming out tomorrow meaning the 22nd of October. If you're watching this after that, it's already out. I love the thing on the sole, never bow down. Isaiah is inspired by the movie 300. And so that might explain some of the fun and aggressiveness of this product, which we're really excited about, and more excited to see how he plays for this season. Peter says, unfortunately, I live in Canada. Hey, you can travel for a wedding. People do that. And Andre, thank you. I'm a 10.5. Do you go true to size? There's no such thing as true to size, because people have personal preference and every company is a little bit different, and the construction of a shoe changes the way it can fit. So we give recommendations based on customer feedback about sizing, but we can't guarantee that that's perfect, because nothing is. But that's why we do free exchanges for sizing. So if you get a shoe and you're not sure if it's going to fit, try it on in the house, just see if it fits inside, because we need to be able to return it in resellable condition. And if it's not right, call our customer happiness team or just get online. There's a way to do this, and we will swap it out for the right size. That's the way it works around here. Okay, once again, A, total pleasure. B, thank you so much for being here. C, come and join us again in on the hopefully third Tuesday of next month, unless that's some crazy time, and we'll be doing this again. I always forget to do this. Check out my, everybody has a podcast. It's getting really annoying, frankly, and if you want to hear more about how annoying that is, check out my podcast at www.jointhemovementmovement.com. or just look for the movement. I talk to people who are all about helping you move better and have a happier, healthier life. So give that a shot. Andre says, sounds good. Thanks. You and Ken Bob put on a comedic clinic. Ken Bob and I have way too much fun when we hang out, and it's been way too long since we've done that. So he is more punny than I am, but we do have a blast. Anyway, I always like to say this because it's true and it's important to me. When Lena and I started Xero Shoes almost 16 years ago, we had no idea that it would become what it has. And most importantly, what that means is we had no idea that we'd have so many people saying so many wonderful things about what we've done and how we've changed their lives. And that's the only reason we're here and the only reason we're doing this. It's what gets us out of bed in the morning, is what we can do to help. So we really appreciate how you have been a part of that, obviously from buying shoes, but more than that, from spreading the word and sharing with people what your experience is when you get out of restrictive footwear that messes up your feet and your rest of your body and into something that can be really beneficial. The number of people who have been stopped on the street by strangers and then had long conversations with them is super high. The number of people who just shared with their friends, this has been really good for me, and they keep telling them over and over and over until those friends eventually go, okay, I'll give it a shot. And then those friends are like, why didn't you tell me? So we couldn't be more grateful for what you've done. When I say we, I mean the entire Xero Shoes team, like literally from our warehouse people to, the executives. That's not really like high and low. Lane and I like to say all companies rise to the level of the neuroses of their founders. And for Lena and I, we treat people like they're friends of ours. And that's the feeling that we have whenever we have an all-team meeting, that we're all in this together. And we couldn't be more grateful for you and for all the stories you share. We pass along all these wonderful stories to everyone so they know the impact that they're making, no matter what their actual job is within the company. And it goes a long way. So thank you. All right, get out of here, go have fun. Whatever it is that you're doing, go out, have fun.